Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Window Chats with Robyn, the Instagram Live podcast where I sit by my window and chat with very interesting people. Now, I haven't done my podcast in quite a couple months now. I felt very compelled to restart it because of what is happening in Israel. And so my guest today is Anat Kriger, and we're just going to have a discussion about what's going on and just sharing our perspectives. So I am Jewish. I went to Hebrew school for 12 years. My parents are Jewish. My husband's Jewish. His parents were Jewish, and it's Judaism. That is our identity, and it's really a challenging time for the Jews right now. And I'm just going to invite Anat in, and we're just gonna have a chat. So. And this is always the dramatic part. Let me try again. Oh, here you joined. Yes. Hi, Anat.
Hello.
This is weird for me because I'm always so high energy on these chats, and it just felt really inappropriate to come in all bubbly. The performer in me wasn't happy, but the Jew in me is like, we need to recognize this is not a good time for the Jewish people.
No, not at all. And, I want to ask you, how are you doing and talk about your life, but this is just an insane situation. Yeah, thank you so much for having me here today.
Absolutely. And the thing is, and I'll just say right off the top, both of us were scared to have this conversation. There's a lot of hate towards Jews now. People that are speaking out in support of Jews are getting a lot of hate and backlash. It's
Mhm.
like any business that's trying to support Jews gets backlash as well. It's not easy to support your Jewish friends. So I understand that fear of wanting to speak out and support us. It's hard.
I'll tell you more than a fear. I don't know, like I'm Jewish, I'm Israeli. I was born and raised in Israel. I moved here after I finished my service in the Israeli army. And I've been here for 8.5 years. And like everybody knows I'm Jewish, I'm Israeli, but I never like start conversations, about Israel and about what's happening and about me being Jewish. Like it's not a thing. And it's not like I'm afraid. It just I try to avoid going into politics and into so many difficult topics because I'm not a politician. I don't intend to be a politician. But what is happening right now is more than politics. So that's why ever since it started, I felt a strong urge to tell the world what is happening. I usually never share news and terrors on my page. Never, never. But yeah, this is the time that I feel like, the Jewish people, Israeli people, we need to speak up. And I found that a lot of people here in Canada have no idea what is happening in Israel. And that's why I thought it would be great to talk about it. And I was not that I was afraid, but I was unsure on what can I do. Like I knew I need to create content because I usually do that, but I had no words that can explain. So I could only share. But now, 6 days, I think, after this whole thing has started, I feel like this is time to speak. And so I'm happy we're doing this today.
Yeah. And no, and I appreciate you being able to talk about this because for a lot of people, I think what I'm really struggling with right now is there was a massacre. There was the Hamas massacre, October 7th, that the music festival and the surrounding villages, what have happened is beyond unacceptable. And for people to say, first off, that didn't happen and deny that this happened, or say we deserved it, like the reaction to such horrors is just unfathomable, but it's something that as Jews we are used to and it's not acceptable.
I think, before we even talk about what is happening right now, I think
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know the history of Israel. And,
true.
as someone who went to an Israeli high school and I had history classes, I think there are not enough history classes in the world to teach the history of the Jewish people and Israel, unfortunately, because it's so complicated and so long. But I would like to talk about it just a little bit
Absolutely.
so people know uh, what is Israel? What is Palestine? If you support Hamas, does it mean you support Palestine? To clarify this situation a little bit. Now, it's really hard to clarify it in like 1 or 2 minutes because people have been studied these topics for years, like politicians and people who learn history, and it's almost impossible. But I will try my best just so people are a little bit more educated when they show support of something. At least they know what they support of. And so, if we will go back in time, the Jewish people for a long, long time didn't have any place to call home. They were spread around the world and they did not have a country. And then World War II happened. We all know what happened in World War II. And I will not even go
I mean,
there.
it's sad. It's like, do we all know what happened? Because there are still Holocaust deniers to this day. Like there was a Holocaust.
Yeah,
Like again, that's a whole other side conversation. But yes, over like 6 million Jews were killed because they
the
were Jewish.
Holocaust happened. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I know a lot of stories, not just from the news or from history books. Unfortunately, I know it because of my family. Both sides of my family had stories from the Holocaust, and these are stories I grew up with. And my grandmother or my mother, they can't watch Holocaust movies because it's just too personal for them. And yeah, I think we're not going to go into this because I feel like
I know it's like a whole other
a whole
conversation, but
topic.
yeah.
Going back, so we had the Holocaust and then it ended, and we had people who survived, and then people started understanding that the Jewish community needs to have a country and needs to have a place to call home. And
Mhm.
so they started doing their thing and looking into countries, and they went to Israel, which back then was not Israel. You called it the Holy Land. Some people called it Palestine. Like they had so many names for this. However, something that is really important to clarify, this was just an open land, which means it was not a country. It was a land which had a lot of people from different cultures, from different backgrounds, and the British people controlled this land. It was not an official country. So even though some people called it Palestine, it was not a country that was, known by the United Nations. Anyway, on Kaftet November, we call it, which is the 29th of November, the United Nations has decided that there will be two separate countries in this land. The Jewish country, which we will call Israel, and the Arab country, which we'll call Palestine. The Jewish people were extremely happy. They finally have a place to call home, even though they didn't get the entire land to themselves. If you want to look it up, you can write it like Kaftet November, 29th of November on Google. You will find so much information on exactly what happened. But there were parts of the country that were for the Jewish people, and that was like the official Jewish country, and there were parts that were for the Arab people, which was the official Palestine country, and some parts like Jerusalem, and I know a lot of different parts were like common areas for both Jewish and Arabs. And so the day after that, the Arab people did not like this decision, which was made, by the way, by the United Nations, not by the Jewish people. Like the whole world came to this conclusion, but the Arab people did not accept it, and so they started a war, which we call Milchemet Yom Ha'atzmaut, which is the independence war, which was long and big and terrifying. But basically, ever since then, the Arab people were trying to get the land, their land.
Mhm.
But what they don't understand that the land was never there from the first place. Now, this is like a big, big topic, and people can argue this, and I'm not interested really in going into this argument, but these are the
Hmm.
facts. And, people who are interested in this are more than welcome to message me or Google, or, I feel like information is out there. It's so easy. We're in 2023, guys.
I
Like,
mean, the thing is, we say information is out there, but there's also so much misinformation, right?
yeah, that is true. But if you go to history book and reliable websites, you can find the information. Um, and then what we have basically is Palestine and Israel. And so part of Palestine is Gaza. And unfortunately, Hamas is controlling Gaza. Now, Hamas is not just, a normal government, because you can't really say your opinion without being murdered. Um, you can't walk on the street and wear what you want because you will be murdered. Um, Being gay there is not accepted. Like, it's not a free country. And this is a terror organization that is controlling Gaza.
Hmm.
And so what they want is basically, having the land of Israel for themselves. But what what people don't understand is that they don't care sacrificing their own citizens to get that. And that is something that Israel has never done. Like, Israel is doing her best to protect her citizens, and Hamas doesn't really care. And so when this whole thing happened 6 days ago, they invaded to they I can't even talk about this, because they murdered, massacre, murder, citizens, and this is something that Israel never wants to do. And even now, when Israel is planning to, attack back and fight for all the people who are missing and bring them back, they are warning the Palestinian people, and they tell them, like the innocent Palestinian people, they tell them, go away, go somewhere else, please be safe, because we will attack and we don't want innocent people to die. But the Hamas doesn't let them run away from Gaza. You understand? Um, so this is like the whole topic in, I don't know, like a few minutes. Um, and now that we have a little bit of background about Israel, I feel like we can talk a little bit more about what is happening
I
right now.
appreciate that. No, I really do appreciate that background. And it's so funny, for every point that you said, I'm sure someone can negate it for the other side, right? And I
Yeah,
see, I see some comments there about how Egypt took the land, like we were fighting with Egypt at one point. The state of Israel, there's so much that you can read and learn about. Just it is overwhelming, and it is heavily debated, and that's why it's such a hot topic.
yeah, and I think what most people don't understand is that Palestine is not Israel, and Palestinian people are not Israeli citizens. And so when you talk about Israel not giving Palestinians the same rights, well, they're not Israeli citizens. It's like asking, citizens of, I don't know, France to have rights in Canada. It's insane. It's two
Yeah.
different countries, right? So that is just something that is really, I feel like there is a big misconception, and there were years of brainwash everywhere on social media, and I feel like it's also is some of this is our fault in terms of like not talking about this, because here again, I've never talked about this publicly like this.
I know.
Like my hands are shaking from
I know. I
even
woke up. I'm like, why am I doing this? And I go,
from
no, I'm doing
opening
this. Yeah.
this topic because I don't I hate that we have to talk about this, but someone has to. And I feel like if you want to know facts, if you want to know exactly what's happening, you can turn on the news. I'm not a person who watches the news, and I feel like, I'm so connected these days, but like there is so much information. Just make sure that the information you see is reliable. That's all.
Yeah,
That's
and with the news, it is hard, right? Because is there a bias reporting, right? I saw something the other day, and it just affected me in a weird way of just like where are they filming? Like they were filming Israel, and it didn't look like anything was out of order, and someone said it looked like a regular Thursday,
there's
and that
a
got to
lot
me
of
really hard,
fake.
right?
Yeah, there's
But it's not even that. Like it could be where is the location, where are they filming it, but also be aware of what Israelis had to normalize, right? What your life in Israel is completely different than if you live in Canada.
yeah,
Hearing a siren to warn you of incoming bombs, rockets, that's not a weird thing. That is the norm. Literally every home in Israel has a bomb shelter. It is
yeah,
required by law.
yeah.
That is their normal. So everyone, I think the biggest thing for me is like just be aware that everyone is like every Jew in the world is feeling this, and if it doesn't look like they're hurt, they're still really affected by this. And it's just really the biggest thing for me I want to get across is it's so important to like reach out. You don't have to publicly support, but reach out to your Jewish friends. Just like send a little note, hey, or something, just to like check in with them, because this the fact that so in Canada it happened. So this was Saturday night. So this is Shabbat. And then the next day was Sunday. That so it went from Simchas Torah to Shmini Atzeret to Simchas Torah was Sunday. So if you're a
Yeah.
religious Jew, Sunday is a holy day. And then Mondays are Thanksgiving in Canada. And we were not feeling very like we're worried if our family is alive. We're not spending like that is our reality. And then after the long weekend Monday, we have to go back to work and get like, oh, how's it going? I heard it's not the best in Israel. I'm like, but also anything exciting coming up this week? I'm like, I'm just going to be dealing with this for a very long time right now. Like the Jewish people are never going to be the same. And it's just really, really hard to explain that to people that haven't, like, as soon as I heard what was happening as a Jew, I'm just like, I know the anti-Semitism that's going to come about. You see it happening with all the, like, even today, like the importance of us doing this today was because what would they call it today? The day of rage. They wanted to
Yeah.
incite, Hamas wants to incite violence worldwide against Jews. And I think the frustrating thing for me is like, I'm not Israeli. I'm just Jewish. So if your issue is truly with Israel, then why are you inciting violence against Jews worldwide? I just don't like the logic is very flawed in that sense for me personally.
I
I know I have like a lot. I go on tangents because
no,
I'm feeling so many
no.
ways, and like it's heartbreaking. I'm angry. I'm tired. I'm scared. I don't like people know I'm Jewish, but I don't broadcast, hey, here are my thoughts on Judaism. Hey, my grandmother was a Holocaust survivor. Like I don't talk about these things because I
Yeah.
feel like as Jews, we're expected to be historians and have to prove to you the validity of the Holocaust, the validity of Israel. And it's not something that when someone else says, hey, I'm suffering, my people just got massacred, no one says prove it. No, it
Right.
didn't happen. No, you deserved it. So that's just how I'm feeling now. And yeah, not fun.
My heart is breaking, and as an Israeli, I know that, living in Israel was never safe. The reason I live in Canada right now is because my dad, after the war in 2006, ملحمة لبنان الشنية, Second War of Lebanon, he understood that we have to find a safer place, and that has led us to come to Canada. But to tell you that I feel safe here now, when when people are being silent, when my friends are missing, when people I know were brutally murdered, I I have no words to say what I'm feeling right now when I'm worried about my mom going to work because Hamas encourages people to take actions against Jews around the world. Like hearing my friends here in Canada saying don't send your kids to school today, that doesn't seem right at all. And I thought that after World War II, at least the world will be a little bit more aware of that. And with today's, technology and social media, it is so easy to speak up and to say something. And even if you don't want to do it publicly, so as you said, just check in and send a message, just show some sort of support. But unfortunately, most of the people I know here are being silent, and I don't blame them, but I just feel sad and heartbroken, and I I don't feel safe here, and I feel like a lot of, here in Canada, a lot of communities, a lot of organizations are always saying, "Oh, we welcome everyone and we want everyone to be safe." And also in our industry, there's a lot of talks like this, but this is the time to show up and, you know, do
I
something
think it's,
to
yeah,
make us feel safe.
it seems like when, different minorities experience discrimination, there is just outright support. But it feels like for Jewish people, there's always like the asterisk of, oh, I don't know where I stand. And
Yeah.
that to me, I think really is the worst thing. Of there, it's so clear for other people when minorities are being targeted, but when it comes to the Jews, I don't know. I don't know. I have thoughts. Like this Instagram influencer is very compelling, so I think I'm going to side with them. And I go like
Right.
that. It's hard. Like don't get me wrong. I've done. And I told you this too. I'm looking at the other side. I'm reading their research and their stories, and I go honestly, it's compelling. But then I combat it with the research that I found, like validated sources. And like I heard this horrific thing the other day because one of the things they're talking about in Gaza right now is the issue of the water supply. And
Hmm.
so and there is footage as well to show this, like Hamas using the pipes for the water and turning them into rockets.
Yeah.
So this,
This
I
is
don't,
another misconception that Israel is not helping Gaza, but it's the truth is that Israel was helping Gaza for so many years, and it was providing them supplies and electricity and food, and it's so sad to say that Hamas took all of these supplies and used it for weapons and to, to 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 get stronger, to have terror attacks towards us instead of helping its citizens. So even the citizens of Gaza are afraid of Hamas. So when you support Hamas, you are actually against Gaza. So when you say free Gaza or free Palestine or whatever it is you're saying because it's trendy or it's cool or people are just, posting things without giving it too much thought, then it's if you're a supporter of Hamas, you're not really supporting these people who are terrified. And also there is a border with Gaza and Israel because there is a border between countries, like there is a border between Canada and the US, and there are borders between countries and Europe because each country is different. And Gaza and Israel are not the same country. And so there
mhm.
is also a border between Gaza and Egypt, and it's not open because Egypt don't want that to happen in her country, and Egypt is an Arab country, and supposed to support them as well, but no, they're closed over there as well. So I just ask to be a little bit more educated when you share things, because if you don't know, there's a difference between I don't know and between I don't want to know. So if you don't know, just reach out. Ask any Jewish person right now
Mhm.
what's happening. I'm sure that people like me and you will be happy to talk to you. And even though we're not politicians and we don't know all the things, we know a lot. And I think that is more than enough. So just reach out and ask and 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 just get the facts. I think that's the main difference between today and 1939, right? There was no social media back then, and still people heard through news, through papers that something is happening in Europe,
Hmm.
and most countries, most people were just silent. And as Jewish people, we can't let that happen again.
It really is. I will say on a more positive note,
Yeah.
I am actually very impressed with the number of people that have showed solidarity for Israel, right? The different countries showing the blue and white. I actually was very surprised by that personally, because I really just expect, I'm a negative person. I just expect immediate anti-Israel things. It's going to take time. In a couple weeks, we'll see where they stand. But I was also very impressed with like some of the people that reach out, and I go, that was unexpected, like it was, and I didn't even know I needed it, but for people to just send like a little, honestly, like 3 words, just checking in. I like that. To me is so beautiful, because like I didn't even know I needed that, and I just thought it was just so lovely. And I think that's why I'm like, I was very pleasantly surprised by the reaction I got from people, and like pleasantly surprised and shocked that people knew what was going on, because again, if you're not Jewish and this isn't directly connected to you, and
Mhm.
you don't have a personal connection, I do understand, not fully getting it, or you have your own life and you have things going on. So I'm not trying to guilt
Yeah.
anyone or anything, but it's I just think it is very important that we take the time, like you said, to educate yourself. You can see both sides, like you can read both sides and form an opinion, but at least look at both sides, and don't just go with like the more compelling video, or the person that looks prettier, just like something along those lines of like, why are you attracted to this, or the story that's sadder. I think like it's just hard, because it's
Unfortunately, this
it's hard to
is not
discern.
another war.
Yeah.
Like Israel had so many wars during the time I was living there, it's basically it's almost never safe to be there. But this is way more than that. I don't think there was ever such a thing um, since the country
Mm-hmm.
was born, and these terror attacks, babies were beheaded and kidnapped and killed and murdered, and children and senior people. Like there's a grandma that was kidnapped, and then the family found out about her being murdered is by Hamas taking a video of her um, evacuation. And this is how they found out their grandmother is not here anymore. And these are just
If I'm not mistaken, they live streamed the killing of their, right? They live streamed killing
I
her, and that's how the family
I
found out. That
from the video I saw of the family, they took a video and they posted on her Facebook feed, and this is how her family and friends found out. And there are so many stories, so many, and it's been like 6 days, and I'm sure the stories will grow as time passes by.
mm-hmm.
So many stories, and it just gives me a flashback to World War II, which these are stories that I thought I will never hear again from this generation. I cannot believe this is 2023 and this is happening, but there are so many stories. There is an Instagram page that they started with stories of people who survived, and they also translated everything to English. So I will put maybe that on my story, and maybe you can share that as well,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to hear the stories. And these are just like, there are horror movies and there are horror, I don't know, like shows. These
Yeah.
stories, the scripts are beyond terrifying. Like, no horror movie in the world had such a horrifying script as these stories. And I also want to go on a more positive note. that if you do want to do something and you watch this and you do want to help, I think, as we said before, the first thing is reach out to every Jewish person you know. Just check in.
Yeah.
That's all, because I'm sure that almost every Jewish person here in Canada knows someone who were kidnapped, attacked, murdered. Like, it's a small community, it's a small
Yeah.
country, and we all know each other. And, so many, there were so many things happening only in my hometown, and this is a small town, and I know so many people. So just check in with your Jewish friends. That's the first thing you can do. Second of all, if you feel like you want to help, you want to donate, you want to, bring something out of yourself, the UGA have an official website in which you can donate either money, because we need it right now to buy more weapon and rebuild the house. Like, so many things right now
It's
in Israel
it's
are
honestly like
happening.
just basic supplies that you don't even think of just to function, right? And you
Yeah,
go, oh yes, I should, yeah, that makes sense to
it's it's,
donate.
it's important. Like, people have lost their houses, kids stayed
I think
without their parents, like so many
I
things like
yeah,
that.
I heard there was a charity, and I don't know if it's through UJ. It was through the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, and there's a charity to support orphans from, if their parents were killed as a soldier, or widows or anything along those lines. And I just thought, how sad is that needs to be a separate entity, because
Yeah.
there's so many that are left, and yeah, that one really stuck with me, because it's just, I think, again, going back to what Israelis have to normalize, what their daily lives are, the daily hate, like, it's knowing that people just want you dead is such a, like, I woke up, like, I've been waking up every day for this week and just feeling horrible,
Yeah.
seeing all the hate, right? And just like people, ooh, I know we were talking about charities, and I go on a tangent because I'm just feeling a certain way, but yes, there
No,
are
I
definitely
understand. There
charities.
are
Don't,
many
yeah,
charities. Just
yeah.
make sure it's a reliable source,
Hmm.
because again, there are not a lot of sources that are not reliable. And if you're donating something, you want to make sure it goes to the right hands. And so that's why I'm saying the UGA, because you can't go wrong with
Right,
that.
true.
If you do want to go, there are so many other charities. Like, I follow so many Israeli people, obviously. So there's like every story is with a different charity. And if you have the resources, great. Every donation will be helpful, really, anything. Now, if you feel like you want to donate something else, in the UGA website, there is a list of things that they need. So you don't just buy something that you think they need. There are specific things they need, so you can get to any store here in Canada, and get it and go and drop it off in the UGA. I went there yesterday. There are so many donations, so many
Mm-hmm.
volunteers, and this makes my heart. This is just makes me so happy in these dark days, to see so many people helping, not just Israeli, not just Jewish, so many people from different cultures. So if you want to help, do that in the UGA website. It's all available. And again, if you need a direction, you need help, just send us a message. We will be happy to help. And then if you want to even go more than that and
Oh, where is
help,
this
and you
going?
want to
Okay.
speak up, and you want to even like go public with your opinion, which I know is crazy, right? um, yeah, just write something, say something, share something. For an entire week, I couldn't write anything myself. I couldn't just, go live and talk about it. So I just shared stuff that I saw. There are so many things out there, so many videos, so much information you can share. So if you
Yeah,
feel, you have to share it, you can. Yes,
yeah.
you can do it, and you can share whatever is okay for you. There are so many horror videos that I saw that I wish I would have never seen.
Hmm.
And I don't say you have to share that, because that is hard to watch. And if you are sharing horrors, please put a trigger
Little
warning
disclaimer.
sign before that, because people are being traumatized every single day. We joke about it, but we say like the entire country is in trauma. Like, we, we all need
I mean,
therapy, huh?
that's the thing too, right? As much as like if you see, someone Jewish that's laughing or smiling, like be aware that, sometimes like I personally cope with dark humor.
Yeah.
That is how I make sense of the world, right? If you see someone like they might not be okay, and that's how they're reacting, right? I feel like it's just really important for us to be kind to each other now. And also like the thing, like I do really want to just hone in on the fact that like I am not happy that anyone that is innocent is getting hurt, like on both
No.
sides. That does not sit well with me. I can't speak for all Israelis and all Jews, but no, we don't want to see innocent people get hurt. And I think when this happened, it was that feeling of like this is going to be like people are going to get killed. And we know the propaganda that's going to come and all the anti-Israel stuff because it's happened before and it will keep happening. And that's why I just really appreciate you being here, sharing the history, sharing these conversations, because it's just really important that our voices are heard, like you said. And again, like I
Yeah,
totally understand if people are scared, like to talk. I get it. Like,
but
I
just
look and
like
I do
you,
appreciate,
but
like, yeah. I was just gonna say, like,
but
I
just like
appreciate the people that like unfollowed me silently. Like, I totally respect that. We can have different viewpoints.
yeah.
I don't take offense to it. But like, just yeah, like being able to talk and share, and like you said, like reach out and hopefully we can. Again, like I'm not a historian expert or anything. I'm just a very passionate, and apparently I've learned this week I'm a very proud Jew,
Yeah.
which is like a new thing for
And
me.
I wish we didn't have to do this. I wish
Yeah,
we didn't have to like go live and talk about these horrible stuff, but I
yeah.
feel like this is how we can help to just raise
Hmm.
awareness. And like you said, like you don't want any innocent people to die. I have to say that Israel doesn't want any innocent people to die.
Exactly,
This was
exactly.
never an intention of Israel. And even now, as we said before, they're warning people who live in Gaza who are just, innocent citizens to go and find a safe place for them because they don't want them to get hurt. And that's why also Israel is so careful with the attacks back because they don't want kids and babies
Hmm.
and elderly people to die in this war. But unfortunately, this is Hamas doesn't really care about this. For them, when they kill innocent people, they celebrate that.
As
And
there were video proof of that, like the
yeah,
massacre, and then people are celebrating. There was parades downtown Toronto celebrating this death, and I go, well, this is horrible and
exactly.
alarming. And
And most of
these
the
are my
media,
neighbors. Okay.
unfortunately, most of the horrible media, like most of the hard, like the the really like hardcore videos of like really, if you haven't watched any of these, I encourage you not to because I feel like this is a trauma for your entire life. But most of these videos were taken by Hamas and they were just, publishing them proudly that this is what they're doing. And I hate to say it, but this is what has happened in World War II because most of
Yeah.
the photos, most of the evidence that we have is by the Nazis because they were proud of what they were
Hmm.
doing. And you would think that we would learn from history, but it doesn't look like that. And and I have to say, like the Israeli army is strong, and I know that we were not prepared for this, but now there are thousands of Israelis that are going to the army, and they're getting ready, and they're getting ready to protect their families and their homes and bring back all the missing people. There are so many families that still don't know if their people are in Gaza or they're lying dead somewhere. And I hate to say it, and like people are just talking and talking about what option is better. I really don't know. I have no answer, but families still don't know what's happening because the numbers are so big. And I know that our army is strong and we will bring them home. But yeah, I hope that we will have the support of Canadian people
Hmm.
and that all the Jewish people who are watching this will get the courage to speak up and talk about this. And even if it's not publicly, just, talking about this with your community or even with
Yeah.
one person, because we're so many here. And I hope, we'll get to do this in a better times and talk about how great
Other
life
things.
is.
Yeah, exactly. Other more positive things for sure. The other one thing that I thought was like a really beautiful gesture is I know, like speaking of the Jewish people, we celebrate, life. So one of the call to action was if you could light a candle
Yeah.
tonight. And I thought that was just because, for all the people that were killed and all the darkness and the lights that were put out, let's just light a candle in their honor. And I just thought that was so beautiful. If you're doing, your Shabbos candles, or just light a candle if you have no idea what Shabbos candles are. And yeah, just a little gesture like that. I think that's really beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I know I don't even know how to end this, but Anat, I truly appreciate your time. For everyone that joined live, thank you so much for watching. For everyone that watches afterwards, thank you just for wanting to hear stories and learn a little bit from like the Jewish perspective. I appreciate it. And like by no means did we cover everything. We don't have the time or honestly like the emotional energy right now to get into it. But yeah, just like reach out to your Jewish friends, support as much as you can. And yeah, I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate everyone that's watching. And I, I don't know how to end it with like not being
We
political.
can't.
Like, do I say Am Yisrael Chai? Okay. Like,
I'm
what do I say?
Israel Chai, that's
Okay.
100%. But
Yeah.
I have no idea how to end this, and I appreciate you doing this because honestly, what happened was just me sending Robyn a message like, let's do something, let's create content. I have no idea what, but let's just do something. And she's like, yeah, let's do it.
That's
and
usually what
and
happens. I have, yeah.
I appreciate that because to be honest, I was sitting in my home and I'm like, I see all these videos and I'm like, I need to make one, but I have no words. I don't know what to say. And I'm, I'm, I'm happy we're doing this. I feel like, in these times, we have to rely on our community more than ever. And if you see it all the time that in dark times the Jewish people, the Israeli people get closer to each other, and it's really sad that this is what it has to take to get closer to each other. But if there is a light in this dark time, that I get to talk to people that I don't normally get to talk to, and this is this gives me a lot of hope and strength, and I I really hope that this will end soon and we will not have to do this ever, ever again. Am Yisrael Chai. That's it.
Am Yisrael Chai. I love that. Okay. I'm not even gonna wave. It feels awkward. I'm just gonna end this. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.